Good day everyone. Our topic for today is the buying decision process. These basic psychological processes plays an important role in understanding how consumers actually make their buying decisions. So marketing scholars have developed a stage model of the buying decision process. So the figure that you are seeing right now shows the buying decision process, and it involves the need recognition, information evaluation or information search, evaluation of alternatives, purchase decision, and post-purchase behavior. So clearly, the decision of the buying process starts long before the actual purchase, and it has consequences long afterward, even after the purchase. So note that the consumers do not always go through these 5 stages in buying a product. For example, they may skip, they may reverse some stages. For example, when you are buying a shampoo or a toothpaste, you may proceed with the purchase decision immediately, and you may skip the information part and the evaluation of alternative part. Okay, so first, let's discuss need recognition or problem recognition. So the buying process starts when the buyer recognizes a problem or a need. So the first stage of the buyer decision process in which the consumer recognizes again a problem or a need. So the buying process starts when the buyer recognizes a problem. So the need can be triggered by internal or external stimuli. So what are external and internal stimuli? So let's differentiate. Internal stimuli refer to a personal perception experienced by the consumer. So it may be in the form of hunger or thirst or so on. For example, if you are lonely, you may decide to purchase a cat, for example. If you are hungry, you may decide to buy a food. If you are thirsty, you may want to buy a soft drink. So that is internal stimuli. So experience own personal perception of the customers. What about external stimuli? So they include outside influences such as advertisement or word of mouth. So for example, a consumer who just moved to, let's say, Iceland or Canada may not realize he needs a winter jacket or winter coat until he sees a store advertising for it, which trigger that need in his mind. And for example, you admire your classmate's bag or your classmate's shoes, and you want one of that bag or a pair of that shoes. So it triggers thoughts about the possibility of making a purchase. For example, you are watching television and an advertisement about a soft drink came out. You may want to buy that particular soft drink because of that particular advertisement. So that is external stimuli. Okay, now let's proceed to information search. So it is considered the second of the 5 stages. An aroused consumer will be inclined to search for more information after need recognition or problem recognition. So during this stage, a consumer who recognizes a specific problem or a specific need will then likely be persuaded to search for information, whether it is internally or externally. So just like in need recognition, we also have internal research and external research. Internal search or external search under information search. So this is also when the customer aims to seek the value in a prospective product or service. So during this time, the options available to the consumer are identified on further clarification. So again, information search can be in a form of internal search or external search. Internal search or internal research refers to a consumer's memory or a recollection of a product in mind. oftentimes triggered or guided by personal experiences. This is when a person tries to search their memory. It is all about memory to see whether they recall past experiences with that particular product, brand, or that particular service. So if the product is considered a staple or something that is frequently purchased, internal information search may be enough to trigger a purchase. So if you buy that product frequently, for example, if you buy that brand of milk tea frequently, then you only need internal research to repurchase that product. So it's all about your memory or recollection of your experience of that product. While external research, it is conducted when a person has no prior knowledge. So that person doesn't experience that service or buy that product before, which then leads them to seek information from various sources. So in internal research, it's all about your own research based on your memory as a previous buyer of the product. In external research, you have no prior knowledge, so you need these various sources. Number one is your personal sources. So they include your family, your friends, your co-workers, your colleagues, your acquaintances. Those are your first personal sources of information. Commercial sources of information may include advertisement or browsing website or talking to salesperson, talking to dealers, the packaging of the product, the display of the product in the store. So those are your commercial sources of information. And the last one is public sources. So they include mass media, consumer rating, organizations, and even social media. So information about the product on Facebook or on Instagram. So they are part of the public sources of information. In your handout, there is a choice of involvement level, but we are talking about the real buying decision process. So let's put the choice of involvement level as a sub-decision under information search. So it involves how much effort the consumer will exert in satisfying that need. So it may be in the form of low involvement level or high involvement level. So low involvement level means the consumer is comfortable with the information and alternatives readily available. So for example, if the customer involvement is low, he or she may look at only one brand because again, he is comfortable with the information, with his memory of previous experiences with that product. So in low involvement buying, the activity is usually frequent because the purchase is frequent, then the customer doesn't need further sources of information. He just needs his recollection of previous experiences. Habitual to a certain extent, and there is generally little differences between the brand. That's why low involvement level. If there are little differences about the brands of shampoo, for example, you don't need high involvement level. So there is no strong attachment exists between the buyer and the brand as well, and promotions are simple and repetitive. While high involvement level, it means that a consumer is dissatisfied with the quantity or quality of information about the purchase situation, and he decides to actively collect and evaluate more. That's why high involvement level. So for example, if the customer involvement is high, then he or she will really evaluate several brands. For example, you are buying a expensive television or an expensive smartphone. Of course, it will involve high involvement level. So high involvement buying involves product with many differences. So the behavior is more complex and the research is more detail-oriented. For example, if you are buying a laptop or online class, then you are going to have further details about the specifications, the memory, the camera, the applications in the laptop. So it will involve high level of involvement. So those are the choices of involvement level. The third one is the evaluation of alternative from the information search. So it involves establishing criteria before making a decision. So evaluation of alternatives is the third stage in the consumer buying decision process. During this stage, consumers evaluate all of their product and brand options on the scales of attributes which have the ability to deliver the benefit that the customer is seeking in the need assessment or the problem recognition in our step number 1. Okay, the brands and products that the consumers compare, their evoked set represent the alternatives being considered by consumers during the problem-solving process. So the attributes of interest to buyers vary per product. For example, you are going to evaluate your alternatives from the informations that you have searched in step 2. For example, when you are buying camera, you're going to evaluate your alternatives based on picture sharpness, or camera speed, or camera size, or the price of the camera that you are evaluating for your purchase decision. For example, if you are evaluating various hotels, then you are going to evaluate them based on location, based on cleanliness, based on atmosphere, or based on the price range of the hotel rooms. For example, you are going to evaluate various mouthwash, then you may evaluate them based on their color, effectiveness, germ-killing capacity, price, or the taste or the flavor of that particular those particular mouthwash that you are evaluating. For example, if you are going to evaluate tires, it may be in the form of safety evaluation, tread life evaluation, right, the quality, or the price, of course. So those are the evaluation of different products and services on evaluation of alternatives. So after you evaluated various alternatives, then you are ready for your purchase decision. You are ready to decide what product, what brand, or what service that you are going to buy or avail. So the buyer's decision about which brand to purchase. So during the purchase decision stage, the consumers may form an intention to buy. Buying or purchase intention first before purchase decision. In executing a purchase intention, the consumer may make up to 5 sub-decisions. So if there is already an intention to buy, then you need 5 sub-decisions to make the purchase based on your intention. The first one is the brand decision, of course. What brand do you like to purchase? So those are that is based on your alternative evaluation. You are now ready to choose what particular brand you want to purchase based on your information search and evaluation. The second one is the dealer decision. So from whom you should buy. So which is influenced by price, point, even terms of sales, previous experience with or awareness of the seller, and the return policy. So you also need a dealer decision or a store decision. So what particular store do you want to buy that brand or product? Letter C is the quantity decision. How many do you want to buy? 1, 2, 3, 4? Is it a wholesale? Is it for personal consumption? Then that is quantity decision. The fourth one is the timing or time decision, which can be influenced by the store atmosphere or environment, time pressures and constraints, the presence of a sale, weekend sale, for example. There is a sale next month or next weekend or next Thursday, and of course, the shopping experience. And the last one is the payment method. So how do you want to pay? via cash, credit card, debit card. So those are the 5 sub-decisions that you need to make when you have your purchase intention already. For example, you want to buy a laptop. The brand decision is you want to buy Apple laptop. The dealer decision, you want to buy in Harbor Point. For example, there's an Apple store, right? Or from PC parts and accessories store. Quantity decision, you only need 1 laptop. Timing decision, you want to buy your laptop during the weekend sale. And payment method, you want to buy your laptop using your credit card. So those are the sub-decisions in purchase decision. Take note again that it is just purchase intention, because there are still intervening factors that may come up even if you want to buy that product already, even if you evaluated all the alternatives, search all the information, there are still intervening factors. So these 3 general factors can intervene between the purchase intention and the purchase decision. So those are different. Purchase intention, you intend to buy the product. Purchase decision, now you decide to buy that product. So between purchase intention and purchase decision, these are the intervening factors that may force you not to buy that product. The first one is the attitudes of others. So negative feedback, if there are negative feedback from other people, especially from your closest one, your family, your friends, so it may hinder the purchase decision. So negative feedback of others and our level of motivation to comply or accept the feedback. For example, after going through the need recognition, information search, evaluation of alternatives, you choose to buy a camera, a Nikon, let's say D80 DSLR camera. But a close photographer, friend of yours, might share negative feedback about his experiences using that camera. So which could drastically influence personal preferences, even though you have already intended to buy that camera, but because of a feedback from your friend about his past negative experience about that product, it may hinder you to buy that product that you initially wanted to buy, initially intended to buy. Okay, that is attitude of other people, especially when those people are very close to you and their opinions matter to you. The second intervening factors is anticipated situational factors. So the decision may be disrupted due to a situation that one did not anticipate. For example, you intend to buy a laptop, but you suddenly lose your job. So, and you need that laptop for your job, for example. So you may not buy that laptop anymore because first, you lost your job, and second, you might not need that laptop anymore because you have already lost your job. Other situational factors, you want to buy a laptop, but the store that you want to buy that laptop from suddenly is closing down, or you just don't like the sales lady, so you may not buy that laptop anymore. So unanticipated situational factors, so losing a job, the retail store is closing down, you don't like the people in that store, so those are unanticipated situational factors. And the third one are perceived risks. So there are many types of risks that consumers may perceive in buying that may modify, postpone, or avoid a purchase decision. Number one is functional risk. So functional risk, the product does not perform up to expectation. So for example, you found a low price power bank on Shopee or Lazada, but you are afraid that it might not perform well. So you don't want to purchase it today. You may want to search for more information and alternatives because of that functional risk. Second one is physical risk. So the product poses a threat to your physical well-being or health of the users or health of others. For example, you want to buy lechon, but it will not be good for your health. So that is physical risk. Third one, financial risk. The product is not worth the price paid. For example, you want to buy an iPhone 12, but you are afraid that it is not really worth the price that you are going to pay. The fourth one is social risk. So the product results in embarrassment from others. So for example, you want to buy from an online ukay-ukay store, but you are afraid of possible embarrassment from your friends or your families. The fifth one is psychological risk. The product affects the mental well-being of the user. For example, you want to buy a horror book, but you are afraid that it might trigger your anxiety. And the sixth one, or the last one, is the time risk. So the failure of the product results in wasting of your time and the opportunity cost of finding a satisfactory product. For example, you want to buy a phone projector, or you saw a phone projector on Shopee or Lazada, but you may actually buy a real projector because you may waste your time buying that phone projector that might not perform effectively. So that is time risk. So purchases of everyday products involves fewer decisions. So for example, previously we discussed time decision, dealer decision, brand decision, quantity decision, but purchases of everyday products, they involve fewer decisions. For example, when you're going to buy soy sauce or sugar, a consumer gives little thought to vendor or payment method. If you want to buy a sugar, are you going to think to pay by a debit card or credit card, for example, or are you going to choose from various alternatives of stores selling sugar? No, you just want to buy sugar or soy sauce. Okay. And the last one is the post-purchase decision. So the stage of the buyer decision process in which consumer take further action after purchase based on their satisfaction or dissatisfaction with a purchase. So post-purchase behavior is the final stage in the consumer buying process when the customer assesses whether he is satisfied or dissatisfied with a purchase. So how the customer feels about a purchase will significantly influence whether he will purchase again, he will buy that product again, or avail that service again, or consider other products within the brand repertoire. So a customer will also be able to influence the purchase decision of others because he will likely feel compelled to share his feelings about the purchase. So if the consumer has a bad or negative experience about the product, so he may share that experience to his or her immediate family, friends, neighbors, or colleagues. Cognitive dissonance, it is in your handouts. So it is the anxiety or discomfort caused by post-purchase conflict. So the anxiety created by the fact that in most purchases, the alternative selected has some negative features and the alternatives not selected have some positive features. So that is cognitive dissonance. You are thinking that what you purchase has negative effects. And what you did not purchase, it is actually the right product for you. That is cognitive dissonance. For example, the customer might feel compelled to question whether he has made the right decision. So they may also be exposed to advertisement or products from competitors which could put into question the product that they have already chosen. So a customer may also have a change of heart and decide that he no longer has a need for that particular product after the purchase. So that is cognitive dissonance. Of course, sometimes you feel this cognitive dissonance. For example, there is a sale and you buy that product because it is on sale. But after buying that product, you may think that you actually don't need that product and you only bought that product because it was on sale. Okay, the marketer's job does not end with the purchase. It does not end with step number 4 because there is still post-purchase behavior. So marketers must monitor post-purchase satisfaction because marketing is all about customer satisfaction. In marketing, organizations build and make profit because of the satisfaction that the products and services are giving to the customers. Aside from post-purchase satisfaction, it is also important to monitor post-purchase actions based on satisfaction and the post-purchase product uses. So, post-purchase satisfaction, for satisfaction, it is a function of the closeness between expectations and the product's perceived performance. So your expectation about the product and after buying that product, the performance of that product. So is it close? Is it not close enough? So if the performance of the product falls short of your expectations, then you are obviously dissatisfied. If the performance of that product meets your expectation, then you are satisfied. And if the performance of the product exceeded your expectation, then you are delighted. So those 3. If the performance falls of your expectation, you will be dissatisfied. If the performance of the product or of the service meets your expectation, you will be satisfied. And if it exceeded your expectation, then you will be delighted. So again, post-purchase actions depend on the post-purchase satisfaction. Satisfaction or dissatisfaction with the product or service will influence subsequent behavior. For example, you are dissatisfied. What are you going to do? So consumers may abandon or return the product to the seller or give the seller 1 star out of 5 star in Shopee or Lazada. They may even hire a lawyer if that particular product is turned out to be harmful for them. If the consumers are satisfied, what are they going to do? Of course, they may repurchase again or purchase that product again. But if the consumers are delighted because the product exceeded their expectations, they may encourage other people to buy that product, their friends, their acquaintances, their families. So when they are delighted, they are going to share their experiences and motivate or persuade other people to also buy that product. And last one, post-purchase product uses. So marketers should also monitor how buyers use and even how buyers dispose the product. So a key driver of sales frequency is product consumption rate. Of course, the more quickly buyers consume a product, the sooner that they will be back in the market to repurchase that product again. So marketers should also monitor how consumers dispose products. So consumers may dispose products based on these 3 classifications. They may dispose product by keeping it. Diba? They may dispose products by keeping it. By keeping it, they may use it to serve its original purpose. They may convert it to serve a new purpose, or they may store it. For example, keeping it, the product, old towels, used to serve original purpose. Let's say, use the towel until it is no longer useful. Convert it to serve a new purpose. So, make plant pots, diba? Out of towels and cement. And storing it, use the towel, for example, when there are guests. So, those are examples. The second one, instead of keeping it, get rid of it temporarily. You may either rent it or lend it. So if you want to get rid of your products temporarily, for example, you have a laptop, you may want to rent it or lend it. And the third one is get rid of that product permanently. Now it is permanently. Either you want to give it away, trade it for another product, sell it, or throw it away. Okay. For example, you have a cell phone. You may want to give it away to be sold or to be reused. You may want to trade your cell phone into some money. You may want to sell it to be sold or to be reused. You may want to sell it direct to consumer, your friend, your cousin, your family member, through middleman, or through intermediaries. Or if you are rich, then you may want to throw it away. So those are possible ways of disposing the product. So again, here are the 5 steps in the buying decision process. First, you need to have that problem or need recognition. You need to identify the problem or a need. After that, you will search for information about that need or to solve that problem. Third, you will evaluate the alternatives that you presented on your information search. The fourth one, of course, you will have a purchase decision based on your evaluation of alternatives. And the last one, what will be your post-purchase behavior after using that product or availing the service from your purchase decision? Okay.